let's send it over to the next segment. Send it over to the Jedi Council chambers to Logan and Mark for Master or Apprentice.
Welcome to Master or Apprentice. In this segment, we will be going over your guys' hot takes. We have 3 of them today. You can get your hot take chosen if you leave it in the comment section below or in our Discord in the description below. Increased odds for channel members as well. Let's go ahead and get right into our first hot take. This one comes from our man Woo, channel member. Andor is the most Star Wars show to date. Now, this one is, and I think this one definitely comes down to a lot of personal preference. I guess, this is an opinion, so I guess it all comes down to personal preference, but I think it's definitely between Andor and The Mandalorian. I think Mando does a better job of a broader experience of Star Wars. So, personally, I don't know if I can fully agree with Woo here. It's, like I said, it's so close. I think Andor does it so well within that time frame, the Empire versus Rebellion time frame, which it's not even full on to the rebellion. We're seeing the building of the rebellion, and that's where Star Wars stemmed from. That was the original trilogy, so you definitely get that Star Wars-y feel to it. But I think with Mando, like I said, you get that sort of experience, but then just taken up another notch. You're seeing so much more of the Star Wars universe, I feel like. So I think it is genuinely a tough decision. But I think I'd probably have to say Mando is a bit more of a Star Wars-y experience than Andor. But like I said, I think they're close. So what's your thoughts on it?
I would probably say around the same. It's really hard because this question is also well, what's Star Wars to you? Like you said, it's
Yeah, exactly.
very opinionated. I will say at first, Andor, it did not feel like Star Wars at first. As it went on, it started to get more of that, with the rebellion and introducing the Empire and everything. It did get that Star Wars feel. But I do think Mandalorian beats it out, and I think the only reason that it beats it out is just because it has like 2 more seasons.
That definitely helps it.
Yeah. And it definitely expands, season at the end of season 2 you see Luke, Bo-Katan was also introduced, and Ahsoka, so all these different Star Wars characters that you know and love were introduced. So I definitely think Mando feels more like Star Wars as well, but I think Andor is a close second for sure.
Yeah, exactly like you said, the beginning of Andor is definitely a little bit lacking in that Star Wars feel. But I think that's just because of the setup where you're bringing the Empire into Ferrix. Because at the start, like, you don't have the Empire there yet, so you have to have that setup to get Ferrix on the Empire's map, get Andor on their map, and get them included in it. So I think that's where that change comes from. But I do think with the second season, it's definitely gonna the competition between those two for the most Star Wars feeling show. It's gonna be a much tighter competition there.
Yeah, for sure, I agree.
But I do believe we're both in agreement that we're not so sold on the hot take. But Woo, we do appreciate the hot take. It is a really good one. I like the discussion, and like we both said, I think those are such a close 1 and 2 that it's not a bad hot take at all in my opinion. But unfortunately, Woo, we do not grant you the rank of Master.
Sorry, Woo, hate to do it.
It's
Great
brutal.
hot take. Great hot take, though, man. Time to get into the second hot take of this video, submitted by Klogot. Mace Windu is the worst character in all of Star Wars. We're going to interpret this as Mace Windu is just not a good character. And I don't know. I have to disagree. I mean, I think I get the okay. Look, I get the kind of hate for him because he's not exactly like super nice to Anakin.
Hmm.
And I kind of don't like him too much for that. But I don't think he was the main reason for Anakin's fall. He might have played like a very small part in it, but I definitely by no means think that he's like the worst. Um, his character is really well. I think Samuel Jackson did a great job. Obviously, Samuel Jackson,
Yeah.
he's gonna do a great job with the character. First, first ever Jedi or just Force user to use a purple lightsaber, because he just wanted a purple lightsaber, which is funny. But by no means I think he's the worst. Second most powerful behind Yoda. He really has a lot more to do with his character than people realize. And if Anakin didn't interrupt Mace Windu in that middle of that fight with Sidious, Mace Windu said that Anakin would have gained his trust and his respect. So that's kind of my view on it. I don't by no means think he's the worst. There's a lot worse characters out there. But I'll I'll hand it over to you, Logan.
I mean, the scene that you just mentioned, I think, is very important in seeing the good in Mace Windu's character, because as you said, he's not the nicest. He's a very blunt person,
Yeah.
and he's just mean. He is just mean. So I understand maybe to people disliking him. I've always understood that, but to call him not a good character, I think there's so much to him. Back to what I was about to say about the scene with Anakin, where Anakin interrupts Mace Windu taking out Palpatine. It's so crazy to think Mace Windu in that situation. No one was going to believe him that he was, the Sith Lord, other than like other Jedi. Other Jedi are going to realize that. But the normal people of the galaxy, you just killed the Chancellor.
Not a good look.
That is, he would go to prison for the rest of his life. And he knew that in his mind. He was willing to go to prison for the rest of his life if it meant saving the Jedi Order, the Republic, everything. He was going to risk himself. That's how much he was going to put on the line, was life in prison. And Anakin interrupts him. But to have that much care for everything else, because him being so mean, you think he doesn't care about anything other than himself. But it's the complete opposite. So I can't quite get behind. it. I really think Mace Windu, if you really think about it, he's one of the best characters in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, he's definitely one of the more complex ones. That's for sure.
yeah, he has a lot to him. And I could definitely understand the hate for him. I'm not ever going to disagree with that. But I can't get behind the hot take, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he kind of holds a lot of, even though he's like mean and all that, like he definitely holds some Jedi like value still. Like you can just tell.
100%.
He doesn't think about himself. So, well, I think me and Logan are in the same boat here. So, Klogon, I'm so sorry, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
It's unfortunate.
Tough
Very
scenes.
unfortunate.
I understand your hate though.
He was mean to Ahsoka. I can't like him.
Yeah. I feel that one.
To get into the final hot take of this segment, this one is coming in from Penguin. The rule of two caused Darth Sidious to fail in his ultimate goal. I think this one is very interesting, an interesting discussion, but instantly I just think of why the rule of two came into existence. It's like all these Sith are just trying to outdo one another. In this lineage, the apprentice is constantly killing the master, just over and over again until we get to Sidious, where he has an apprentice, they die, he brings in a new one, then the apprentice is trying to have an apprentice of their own, and then they have to get rid of that apprentice so then they could stay the apprentice, and it's just I understand thinking that having the rule of two just it makes them a lot less powerful because the more the better, you would think. But when it comes to Sith, they're all power hungry, so it's a lot different than having a lot of Jedi. And I think Sidious was just such a mastermind and had this whole plan where I don't think the rule of two is what really made him fail. I think it was just I hate to say it because it's like this is kind of just how Star Wars is. There's not much of an explanation other than it's the will of the Force. Like it was destined to happen. That is how it's supposed to happen. Which is like, well, that's just stupid because that's the way it was written. Obviously, it has to happen, but that's kind of just how it is. Like, Anakin is the chosen one. He is going to bring balance to the Force. The only way to do that is to kill Sidious, to kill Palpatine. So, the will of the Force is going to make that happen at some point. So, I have a tough time making an actual argument for why the rule of two was the sole reason why he didn't achieve his ultimate goal. So I'll see what you think, but I'm still just I don't even know how I want to word it.
Yeah, now I get what you mean. You kind of hit the nail on the head. Not much I really have to add. It's because I was gonna kind of mention the will of the Force, and I mean, Anakin's the chosen one. He's gonna fulfill the prophecy no matter
Yeah.
what. Whether it was the rule of two or if you have a million Sith. But I feel like to say he failed in his ultimate goal, I don't know if I'd want to say that because he really did accomplish like the main thing he wanted to, which was basically rid the galaxy of the Jedi, or like at least the idea of the Jedi, which he did.
Yeah.
And he was the Emperor for, I mean, over 20 years. So
Exactly. That's true. I didn't really think
it
of
was
that.
just, yeah, it was just at the end of the day, I feel like it was just a miscalculation, obviously on his part with Luke, and in that scene in the Return of the Jedi when he was like using his Force lightning on Luke, like Palpatine wasn't focused on Vader at the time, and it was just like I think it was just a miscalculation and also just like the will of the. I mean, it sounds corny, it does, but it's how it works. That's how George Lucas wrote it. That's how it was supposed to play out, no matter what, no matter who was there, how many Sith there were. Anakin was the
Yeah.
chosen one, and he was gonna do what he had to do. So
Yeah, it
that's
seems
kind of my
like a bit
take
of
on
a
it.
cop out answer.
It is, but I mean, that's just how it
Exactly like you
works.
said, he kind of achieved it. He
Hmm.
just didn't achieve it for eternity, which he was never going to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
even though, even
I guess
though,
he was making clones of himself, so he was trying to
yeah,
achieve it eternally, but
yeah, because I think that was like, I guess that was maybe his ultimate goal. Like his end goal was to just be emperor forever. But I mean, first of all, it's just kind of an unreal like thing
yes,
that
that is
thing to try to
incredibly
do.
unrealistic.
But also, it's like he did kind of accomplish his main goal, which was become emperor and completely make the Jedi out to be a myth, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
So
my take on it, though.
I, I it's unfortunate that we can't agree with this hot take. But
It's a
I
good
mean,
one. I actually really like it
yes.
because it definitely provided a bit better explanation than what I was thinking. So
Yeah, it's kind of just whether you want to say the will of the force, the other factors, I
if you want to
mean,
say the corny answer, yeah,
yeah, if you want a cop out answer like us,
yeah,
just because I mean, I'll just say it one last time. I think the rule of two made so much sense because all the Sith are just power hungry. So it's
hmm
literally just a constant fight to see who's at the top. So the rule of two,
yeah,
there was even infighting within the rule of two. So even that didn't work, but it was going to work better than having a whole bunch of Sith.
exactly,
Because they were all going to want to be the Emperor.
exactly. They were all just gonna try to take over like it. That's just how it was. So that's just
Yeah.
how the Sith worked. I mean, Yoda. I believe Yoda says it's like fear, hatred, and then like just straight like you just want power. Like you're just power hungry once you're
Hmm.
like a Sith. You just want power. That's all you want. So
Yeah. So unfortunately, Penguin, as much as I want to have someone in this segment be granted the rank of master, we unfortunately do not grant you the rank of master. Round of
hate to do
applause
it.
for everyone that submitted a hot take, and everyone in this segment. Unfortunately, we do not have any masters this time around, but they're all good. I don't
hmm
mind the hot takes,
Yeah, no, the
and
hot
I
takes are
don't.
great. Yeah.
A lot of the time, I don't think they're so insanely wrong that I
Oh yeah.
just can't see why they would think it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But it's just not where my mind is at. So it's so unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Thank you to everyone that submitted a hot take. If you want yours chosen, you can go ahead and leave it in the comment section below or in our Discord server, link in the description. Increased odds for channel members to get your hot take chosen. And with that, we'll go ahead and send it back